Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am J.A. Dudley, just floating down the highway. I did some stuff for Grindstone Ministries today. Had a little road trip, took my wife and the chunk with me. And as I'm flying down the highway, started thinking about my truck driving career and went way back when I used to race cars illegally, never professionally. Back in New Jersey by the airport, what was that, Avenue P, racing cars back there. Then uh, I went down to Philly one time, racing in Front Street, and also what was the name? Hunts Point in New York, racing out there. But outside of that, just driving fast down the highway, way faster than what I drive nowadays. But just staring at the road, looking at the lanes, it made me think of staying in my lane. It's it's the rule of the road. Hearing that or saying that makes me think of something else. If you saw, was that Jay and Silent Bob? What movie was that? With George Carlin in it. George Carlin was a priest. It's the way of the road. But yeah, we're not talking about that way of the road right now. The way of the road is staying in your lane and keeping your hand on the steering wheel. But I I equate that to so many different things, especially when you're working with people or there's a hierarchy with different things going on. You have to learn how to stay in your lane with that as well. When you are working with people, you'll have these tasks and jobs to do, and going outside of your purview can cause issues. You have to humble yourself to the position that you're in. Even if you're able to do someone else's job, if it is their job, let them do their job. If you have some suggestions or you wanted to give them a nice and easy critique, you can do that as well. But you have to let them do their job. You can't do every job for what needs to get done, especially if it requires multiple people. And that's something that I always have to remind myself, because I am good for saying, yes, I'll take care of it. I'll do this by myself. Uh, I don't want to inconvenience someone else. I will go out of my way so that I can get these things done and have everything taken care of. Where I'm doing the job of four or five different people, but I enjoy doing that. That's my lane. I like to be able to go and move how I want to move, so that I don't have to answer to someone else. Uh, there are some other lanes that you have to stay in. Another one is staying in that husband lane. They like you don't want to get into a friend zone with your wife, or if you are a wife listening to this, a friend zone with your husband. You always have to keep that intimacy going, that loving, that kindness, that caring, that that passion. All of that has to stay at a high level so that you're staying in that lane. You don't want to, as I'm doing right now, change lanes and then the dynamics are completely off. Where if you're supposed to be the head of your household and you are not leading as you should, and your wife goes to take over as the leader of your household, that means that you're not staying in your lane, you're not doing what it is that you need to do, then your house is completely out of order, and you you'll end up in a bad place, because if it goes for too much longer, like, what use are you if you're not the head of your household, if you're not keeping that passion in play, if you're not treating your wife as if she was your fiance, as you were chasing her, as you were making her, reminding her that she is your woman. Because if she has to take the role of a man, then what does she need you for? Like, she will recognize that you are, as the kids say, you are not it. Well, actually, it probably say some other weird terms that I don't understand. Like, I'm at that age now where slang terms, I don't recognize them. They don't make any sense to me. They're not logical. I just started learning based maybe about a couple of months ago, and now that's not even a slang term anymore. It's some other craziness like Sigma, or what is another one that I heard? Can't even think of it, because it's that's not a part of my lexicon or my vocabulary to be able to pull one of those out of thin air and be able to explain it to you. But another lane that you have to stay in, which I just changed lanes again. I don't know if y'all were able to hear the turn signal, but that's being a father. And being a father is a very difficult one, because you have to be all of these different things that your children have to look up to, but also make really tough decisions, and uh, tough have tough conversations with them, no matter what their ages are, so that they so that you're not letting them just go astray. Where once they get on the road and they're all over the place, they don't know how to stay in the lane, because you didn't teach them how to stay in a lane. You didn't teach them the basics of life. You didn't teach them how to groom themselves. You didn't teach them how to talk to people. You didn't teach them work ethics. You didn't teach them all of these different things. So then it'll get to a point where you're like, well, why aren't you doing what you need to do? And they are lost out there because you didn't teach them how to stay in the lane. That's something that is going to be a long journey, especially with my youngest, making sure that he stays on the right path, that he understands when it's okay and when it's not okay to play, when it's okay to yell, like having an inside and outside voice. And I'm a 44-year-old man, and people mess with me because my voice projects that their yelling is my inside voice, as opposed to my yelling is like booming through a PA system. That's how I sound to people. So I'm going to have to teach him on how to use an inside voice, while learning for myself how to use the inside voice at 44 years old. I'm not going to wait to teach him at 44 years old how to do that. I'm trying to teach him now. Also, my wife is trying to teach him that now. One of the things that we do go over, especially since I can't even say we live in a country. We live on the side of a mountain in the middle of nothing. So where hospitals are extremely far away. So there are certain cautions that you have to look out for, that if we still lived in a big city, you wouldn't be looking out for. Like, in a big city, maybe it'll be a squirrel or a raccoon or some other type of vermin, maybe a dog, a cat, or something like that. No, we're looking for coyotes. We're looking for snakes. We're looking for possums. We're looking for armadillos. We're looking for ground worms. There's so many. We're looking for stray dogs. There's so many things out there that we have to keep an eye out on, and I have to constantly remind him to keep an eye out, because if I don't teach him that over and over again, it's not going to become first nature to him. I don't want it to be second nature. It has to be first nature to him. Every step that he takes, he should, one, be grateful for his life and his existence. Two, be thankful to the Father for everything that he's blessed with, for just another step. And three, watch out for dangerous things. Because if he's not watching out for dangerous animals or dangerous situations, you can walk into a spider web, you can be walking in the creek, step on a rock the wrong way, slip, fall, hurt yourself. Don't want to do all of that. So teaching those little things now in him, giving him a baseline and foundation, he will know how to stay in his lane. So as I continue forward through life, I have to be that example, teaching people how to stay in the lane, in their lane, not try and overstep someone else, not try and teach something that they don't know anything about, not try and tell someone that they know how to do something when they don't. No, if you don't know how to do something, say that you don't know how to do it. Say, teach me, and humble yourself as a student. It doesn't matter how old you are. I am still learning stuff. I learned in 2020 how to hook up a trailer to a pickup truck. I was 40 years old the first time doing that. For a few years prior to that, I was bumping semis and hooking those up, but I didn't know how to hook up a trailer to a pickup truck. Learning how to do a skid steer, how to run a skid steer or a track loader. How did I learn? I learned how to maneuver it a little bit. I learned how to put it up on a trailer, strap it down, different things like that. Then one day we're on deployment with Grindstone, and I bring the skid steer over there, and I'm approached like, hey, do you know how to use a skid steer? No. Well, we need you to bury a horse. They're going to show you where to dig a hole and bury a horse. What? I've never used the machine before. I barely can get it on and off the trailer without the fear of falling off the trailer. And you want me to go dig a hole for a family that lost everything? Why don't you put somebody that knows what they're doing so they don't mess things up? No, you take care of it. So that's how I learned. Then after that, switch out from the bucket, get the grapple, and I'm running with Squatch, and we're moving debris on this property, and it becomes first nature, not second nature, first nature within a couple of hours on how to maneuver with this. But I tried to stay in my lane. Other people put me in the lane that I needed to be and gave me that quick little education so that I can go forward. So that's all that life is. It's staying in your lane until somebody waves you over and say, hey, come try this in this lane. Or you go knock and say, or put on your signal like, hey, I'm trying to learn that. I want to move over into that lane so I can understand this. I want to expand my knowledge. I want to learn and know more. I want to be different. I want to motivate people how you motivate people. How do you do that? Can you teach me? Well, can't really teach you, but I can just show you what it is that I do. And it's up to you to take that and cut your own pathway so you can stay in your own lane.